All right. Why should we be so worried that the Russia interference? It really didn't affect me. It didn't bother me. I got up. Everything was fine in my life. Why should I be so upset about this?
And that's exactly the problem, McGraw. It's not 9/11. It's not Pearl Harbor. It's not tangible. It's not in front of you. But every day they are sending you, me, whomever, fake news. They've created false personalities. They're sending out information that's not accurate to divide people, to create dissension of us against them. That's one component of this. But when you go beyond trying to change your mind or mine on topics like Black Lives Matter or fill in the blank, you then have the whole issue of infiltrating our infrastructure, our electrical grid system. And they've actually figured out ways to hack it. They've even have proposals of how they can shut it down when they choose to shut it down at some point, if they do. And it goes on and on, these layers and layers of infiltration sort of behind the scenes, smiling as they do it. I live 2 blocks from the Russian embassy. Those folks smile a lot when they come out of that embassy. But, you know, they're only smiling for one reason. Because they're here to try to manipulate us.
Because they've been reading your mail and they're so happy with all the things you see.
And that's fine. You know, that's why my mail is all good. You know?
Right. So let's go to the thought process for a second. They are manipulating our thoughts, and I brought this up the other day. Back when radio first started, right? There was this government paranoia that they were going to infiltrate the radio and start to get Americans to be somewhat sympathetic to the communist cause. And the government, you know, clamped down on this, and it was highly regulated. Well, now in 2018, there's no appetite to regulate Facebook and Twitter and everything else. But those fears from the 30s and the 20s and the 40s, it's exactly what they're doing now.
Well, that's right, just with more sophisticated tools. I mean, remember during World War II, McGraw, that, you know, Germany put a lot of money in starting in effect, a new Germany agency or organization, I guess is the right word, here in the country to promote what Germany was, what they wanted us to believe Germany was, and what Germany was doing. And it had some traction. I mean, that and some other shenanigans by the Germans during World War II sort of led to this act that was passed about representing foreign governments in this on our soil, which is what's this woman's name? I forget her name. Maria Butina is basically been charged with, is being a foreign agent for a foreign power, and so a lot of this was generated via World War II. So it's something you and I, McGraw, and the rest of the country by and large don't see, but it's happening behind the scenes all the time.
And it's one thing years ago to be sympathetic to the communists, but now what they're doing is they're dividing us and sort of sliding in certain effects to make us think NATO is bad, right? So if they can sway public opinion to get the majority of people to think NATO's bad, you can't convince someone that they've been brainwashed by Soviet Union, Soviet-style propaganda. They just think NATO's bad, right? I mean, that's the whole danger of the whole thing.
Exactly. And you add to that creating distrust in the federal government and distrust in the FBI and intelligence agencies, so that when they say certain things or they indict certain people, it's diminished as far as its legitimacy. There's a thing called the rule of law, and without the rule of law, we are a mess. Yeah. We're just not a country. And this is where they're pushing that side of this, and that's why you have these conversations with people who, don't really understand this subject, but they see it, well, that's just the government, making up something or going after the current president. And it's hard to get beyond that with some folks, and all I'm suggesting is you got to look behind the scenes.
Brett Garrett, let me ask you this question, because if Russia were so good at this and so sneaky and wanted to so disrupt our country, why did they do it so we knew it was them? Can't they go in and do these things and leave no trace of themselves? So how can it be Russia if, as Putin said, if it were Russia, you wouldn't know it?
Yeah, well, that's just not true, because the following occurs, that the sophisticated tools they have to do what you and I have just been talking about, we also have those. And, do we do some version of that perhaps in other countries? The answer is yes. So the ability to completely cover your tracks is just not there. But keep in mind, McGraw, they also, in reality, want you to sort of know they're doing this. Yes, they'll deny it. Yes, they've denied these poisonings in the UK. It's clear that they had a hand in them in some form or fashion. So it's like, look, I'm standing in front of you, but really, I'm not standing in front of you. I mean, it's kind of that sort of approach. And it seems to work, at least from their perspective.
So they want us to know, but they also want plausible deniability. They want us to know, hey, we can get you. We can turn off your lights in New York City if we want to. Right. Yeah.
Exactly. Now you've hit it.
Yeah. Brad Garrett, ABC News, crime and terrorism analyst. Thanks, as always. Good stuff, Brad.
All right, McGraw. Take care.
You got it. 625 here at Big 550, KTRS. Bowen Dental.